Hi, good evening everyone. It's Damien Django speaking from bestsalesboost.com. Thank you very much for joining this video and thank you for subscribing and watching my content in general. Today I will be speaking about sales scripts and the differences between different sales coaches who are considered the best out there on the market, and I will consider and provide and introduce to you some specifications. I will a little bit try to compare which kind of scripts, if at all, the sales coaches do recommend, and at the end you can make an informed decision which kind of approach do you like most, and if you like to use a script, a calling script at all. Another question which I will discuss in this video will be also a little bit about the subconscious questions running through the head of your customer, and this is something which I just recently found in the book of English of an American sales coach. His name is Joe and Don Pici. So you see this book, Sell Naked. And I just will want to compare it a little bit to the approach in regards to which kind of questions you need to address when you present yourself in the very first seconds to your customer, and to what I learned from my German mentor, who's Tim Taxis, by the way. So let's get straight into it. Let's get started, and let me explain that the reason why I chose this topic is that I actually found in all of the sales coaches which I'm following the recommendation of putting down what you want to speak about with the customer in writing to actually really do a call script. And the call scripts recommended through these different sales coaches, they differ a lot. They differ a lot in terms of how detailed they are described, and how many things or how many components they should include at all. So let me go firstly a little bit to Joe and Don Pici. So this is the book Sell Naked on the Phone, and they actually consider selling through the phone as a very important initial part of a sales. Even if it's happening that at the end, when the close is happening at the end, face to face. And I think you can also think about the same approach when you speak, when you consider the content which Jordan Belfort, the author of Way of the Wolf, is presenting in his books, but also in his videos on YouTube. So, saying that, there are differences. So the first, what I've seen when looking at the Sell Naked on the Phone calling script, it's very, very short. So the content recommended there is just like that the call script should have like the elevator speech and the invitation or the offer. And yes, the author is speaking also about creating like 10 most important questions which you want to ask the customer, so you're always prepared to, and you can choose pick from the box one of the question which actually fits in the conversation. But what I missed there a little bit, so I'm not saying it's bad, I like the approach. I like the fact that the authors like Joe and Don Pici is presenting an approach which is differentiating between different types of personalities, like the D, the I, the S, and the C personalities. You can read about these personalities in this book. I don't want to go into details, but I think that the book is giving good content away. It's providing valuable information, but it's more generalized than what I was. What I was taught by the German mentor Tim Taxis, for example, and what is also taught by this gentleman, by Jordan Belfort. So when you consider Jordan Belfort's straight line selling, straight line sales approach, So you know that Jordan Belfort is speaking about the front end and the back end, and between the front end and the back end the presentation is happening. Then you eventually look back to the presentation and you give the presentation several times, and then eventually with the help of Tonality you can bottom down the customer, or you can close the customer. I think this is the better experience. You can make the deal with the customer. You can let him decide about buying the offer you present, when it's the real deal for him, when it's the right deal for him, by acting on his thresholds, like thresholds, the action threshold, and you also pin down, or you can somehow increase the pain points, so just to make him clear that if he changes anything, that at the very end pain point will increase, and he will actually not gain anything because of not taking any decision. So here Jordan Belfort describes quite in a quite detailed manner how a discussion and how a call script should be created when considering his straight line core sales approach, and it is a little bit different from the approach which Joe and Don Pici are presenting, where all the things are not like really put into the into a red like red thread, so that you just follow a guideline, and like this is A, this is B, this is C, D, and this is how a cold call usually looks like. It's just giving you like the information that you should have an elevator, you should an elevator pitch, and then you should also prepare for your offer, and then it is saying that you should prepare for objections, and it's giving some examples for the objections you should prepare for, and also quite good and examples how you can handle them, how you are, and all of the sales coaches are really agreeing on the fact that you never argue with the customer, that you somehow like redirect the energy, that you somehow agree to him like on the basis, I understand, I know where you're coming from, and then you use different types of techniques for objection handling. And this is discussed in this book, Sell Naked, on the phone. But what I'm missing a little bit is like the really, so the simplicity of this book makes me think that maybe it could be discussed in a more detailed manner. During what Jordan Belfort is providing is already like a more advanced type of introducing to the straight line system, with the right approach, with the discussion, how you start the conversation, how you treat the conversation through discovery and through business intelligence gathering. This is what Jordan Belfort calls business intelligence gathering, rather than qualifying. And from my German mentor, I learned this in a very detailed way. It's not too complicated. It's really important that you can still keep every components of the call in an order. I like the approach of my coach very much. I also tend to give credit to Jordan Belfort, because these two approaches are very similar. I really think that because Jordan Belfort speaks in his way of the Wolf about this day where he just somehow had this vision or had this enlightenment in terms of his sales system, and he just spoke out like his vision came out, and he just put it down on the whiteboard for the straighteners, the guys who he has been teaching and coaching afterwards, who all become successful. And it looks for me so much similar to what the German mentor is talking about in terms of how the conversation is created, how the sales representative should approach the customer, how he should lead the conversation, not how he shouldn't let the customer to go to Pluto or to Anus. So this is like what Jordan Belfort is saying, just to not to drift out of the main topic, because the main topic is still the deal and the pain point of the customer, who is actually the person who we want to ask about his most urgent need. And one important insight which I recently had reading the book The Way of the Wolf is actually about the what the wolf means, uncovering the pain point. And I don't remember, was it really like in this book, in the Sell Naked book, or in the John and Belfort, so I don't want to give someone like not the credit to the wrong person, but I found it really important. So the discovery, what actually discovery means, the discovery really means that we trigger somehow something emotionally in the customer where he bursts out, like this is like the extreme case that he bursts out about with the pain point he has, because sometimes, you know, like with the objection handling, so this is a little bit like this objection handling. Objections are very often like not real, they are not real, they are like they just cover up the fact that the customer doesn't trust us, our company, or the product, so that they are still not ready to make the decision yet, because they still need to become certain about the deal, about us, about the company we represent. And then finally, with the final trigger, we with a good trigger, with a situation when we ask the customer and asking the right keyword, might cause the customer to burst out with his need, and this is actually the uncovering of the need. So really uncovering the need of the customer makes the whole conversation, and it's actually the word is representing all what really good sales is about. Because this really gives us the opportunity to understand that it's about the customer perspective. So just imagine that you are in a call with the customer, and the customer speaks with you, and then you trigger him to give away like the main pain point he has. He didn't know you, you are in a cold call, he possibly has a partner, another company, and he is working with already, and then you just like by leading the conversation in the right way, asking questions and just putting the finger on triggering like the pain point, let the customer explain, and he explodes sometimes he will just tell it what is his most urgent need. Then this is actually really the expression for uncovering, and this shows that the real good sales representative is someone who really can guide the conversation and put the customer to trigger the customer to explain what his most urgent need is. And when there is a most urgent need, and for some reasons, and for just because of circumstances, because of how we research the customer before our product fits into this vacuum, then we have a match then, and this is actually something which is like a win-win situation, not only considered in terms of business, but also like in regards to the interhuman interaction. So I'm drifting off a little bit of the topic, so let's go back a little bit to the script. So yes, so the Sell Naked on the phone from Joe and Don Pici, explaining us a little bit more. I think like it's not like in that particular order, it's not like a real pattern with what they introduce, but in generally speaking, that we have to make a call script with 10 important questions with the right elevator pitch, and they do provide some good elevator pitches here, which are more, I think, traditional, like we speak to the customers, and which are really what they take care of in this book is really to create an elevator pitch which is speaking more from the customer perspective. So what you can learn with this book is, for example, really to craft your copy for the elevator pitch that way that the customer realizes that you are instantly speaking from his perspective. So actually good, and worth studying. I just miss a little bit the details, So for example, how I give you an example, what for example I find much more detailed in the sales approach I learned by the German trainer I've been working with, Tim Taxis. So for example, the authors here, Joe and Don Pici, they are just explaining that we have to address the customer subconscious questions. What does the caller want from us? And that's it. They just have this label, what does the caller want from us, and they address this with this requirement of creating a script, of actually 2 components, like of the elevator pitch and also the offer. And they speak about having handy and ready like 10 questions which we can ask the customer in order to ask him about, I don't know, his decision requirements, the most important things which are relevant for the industry, without really specifying the questions. So this is how the book is created. So this is more general. And with my trainer and with the German trainer Tim Taxis, I landed there are actually 5 questions. And when you craft your intro in the right way, you can instantly address them. And the 5 questions the customer is always asking himself is: who is calling? How long will the call take actually? What does the caller want from me? Just one question which is similar to the question of the book of Joe and Don Pici. And then can I benefit from the call, and which kind of benefit will I get from that? And at least these 4 first questions, they are like somehow running in the head of the customer all the time. And so the German coach, which I'm teaching this system as well. I modify this through all this sales experience which I had. I have like an own system based on the basics provided by this German author. So I just find it that it's very, very, very effective when you get into the first 2 sentences, that when you approach your customer that way, that he instantly occupies his mind. He realizes that you are really addressing this question. So you're just actually, he picks up the phone, he's asking him, he doesn't know you, so he will ask this question: who's calling? Well, he doesn't know your voice. How will the call take? What does the caller want from me? How can I benefit? And eventually, which kind of particular benefit can I get? And then he's having this picking up the phone and starting the conversation with you, asking himself these questions, and you are instantly with 1 sentence addressing all of them. So, and this works for me in 90% of the cases. So just like in telling you that the activity, I've made hundreds and hundreds of cold calls, and I have this introduction, and you find this introduction in the other videos which I provided in my other videos. And you saying this in the right way, and it gives you like an open door for to continue the conversation. So, for example, with this approach, you are eliminating only to 0 the objection of "I have no time" when you do it in the right way. I don't want to repeat this introduction right now here. I find that Jordan Belfort in his book, like Way of the Wolf, didn't discuss really the wording. He didn't really talk about which kind of words you should use, but he speaks about tonality. So he speaks a lot about the fact how much time you have to impress someone, to leave the right impression, not to impress, but to leave the right impression with your customer, which is actually like 4 or 5 seconds on the phone, and then you need to come across like as sharp, as an expert in your field. And there was a 3rd requirement. I just forgot, but it's like sharp, expert, and then there was 3rd one. Just a second. Doesn't really matter. You will forgive me. So there are these 3 requirements. You need to be sharp as a thought, and then you need to be an expert and enthusiastic. Of course, and enthusiastic. And it's a bottled enthusiasm he's speaking about, and this kind of, so he speaks more about the environment, about the how rather than the wording. But there is the topic of congruence. The topic of congruence, which I think is also addressed in the book of Jordan Belfort, but I emphasize this a lot. So actually, you can, using the right words, using the right wording for your intro and for the first question, for the first discovery question. I call it the first discovery question, which is really opening the conversation that way that you lead this conversation through questions with the customer. You can gain the confidence which you need. So you will get to the tonality required when you know what to say. So yes, it might be that when the tonality isn't right the first time you say it, the second time, the third time, but after the success has been achieved, then you will get this state memory. You will remember, oh, the customer reacted 100% perfectly. So wording speaks also a role. So, and when the words and the tonality are congruent, when you're coming across confident, but not like overconfident, but confident, saying the right intro and saying the right greeting, then you will get to the point where the customer will be ready to answer the questions. Yeah, so I just wanted to explain that all of the coaches who I know, and they're also I'm also absolvent of COD, Customer on Demand. You know that this is a very popular academy right now. So I finished this academy as well, graduated there, and I was also learning the style of calling there. So everywhere where I come across really serious sales coaches, and I'm one of them, so to use the script is really recommended. I find that there are different ways and different points highlighted through different coaches. So Jordan Belfort is actually highlighting the tonality and the way how you do it. Here, I think that the most general questions are highlighted that and it's good, you know, it's good. Like sometimes it might work in some industries that maybe it's, you know, like just that you create your own way out of the general and more generalistic like approach and general call script development. But I also learned this very, very craftsmanship, but very, very thorough way of how to think, how the customer is thinking during the call, where you actually break down the whole call in 5 or 6 steps, and the whole conversation works through the greeting, through the introduction, through the intro, through the first discovery call, then the discovery questions, eventually interrupted through objections, and then you have to deal with the objections handling, which is a kind of looping back to and taking back the customer to the topic and actually asking him about the main pain point he does have. And then finally, when he reveals the pain point, then you close the deal by suggesting an appointment, and you also ask some additional business intelligence questions about facts, figures, his most important requirements. And this is very, very thoroughly broken down in the method which I've learned with the German mentor, until the point where the customer's really like empty ways and finally telling you everything what is important, and by leaving out the unimportant part, just by following this red thread, which is like the way how you guide the conversation, the cold conversation from the beginning till the end, and knowing the structure from the beginning with the steps, which is like the greeting, which is the intro, which is the first discovery question, the discovery questions, the objection handling, then it's like the closing, then it's like the leave taking, but also logging down the appointment. So you always are. So these are actually all the points. And just by what I mean by really locking down the appointment is that you are really somehow you make it attractive for the customer to appear to the next step, which is the appointment. So you need to be clear about what the next step is. Usually it's an appointment, so you don't have to close. You know, the goal of the call is just to get to the next step. Usually it's an appointment, and how you lock down is just by saying, for example, okay, so maybe you can tell me at the end, like, what would be the most important topic, what is the most attractive topic you want to discuss. So it's really worth for you to take part in this topic. Should I write something additionally? This is, for example, what I use at the end, so the customer really understands that I really want him to participate in the call, and it's all about what he really wants to know from us. So just like there are other methods how to lock down the appointment, how to close the deal with the customer, how to avoid that he will flake on you, how to avoid shows, but this is eventually a topic for another video. So thank you very much for watching. So 25 minutes, I think it's a lot. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share this video if you like what I was sharing with you. Yeah, I hope you're doing great. Have a great week ahead, and speak soon. Damien Jango from bestsalesboost.com. And yeah, if you like me to coach you, then we can do it as well. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Bye bye.